welcome to another Mindful Moment with Mindful Flow. Here we are in some very interesting times. We're faced with a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of changes going on in our lives. And it's always about our perspective. Of course, it is scary to not know what's going to be happening. And of course, it is important to have the bitachon, the belief in God, that everything is for the best. But how can we also, besides for having emunah bitachon, which is essential and the foundation, what else can we do? Some of us may need to we may need to reinvent ourselves. Some people may no longer have the jobs that they've had. Their routine has been changed. And they have to reinvent themselves. They have to start all the way from the beginning. And a lot may come up. Feelings of fear. And it's all normal. And the first thing is to really just take some deep breaths and to just acknowledge those fears. It's okay. We may know that we should have bitachon, and it is important. But it's also important to see where we are and not just hide that from ourselves. So first step, let's just take some deep breaths and just check in with where we are. Whatever's going on for us, everybody has something different, but everybody's lives have been impacted in some way or another. Let's take a few deep breaths. And we're going to do a short body scan, which is just checking in with ourselves. Because a lot of times our physical signs in our body of stress, we see them before we even acknowledge that we're stressed out or we're afraid. And I heard something really interesting, that there are certain parts of the body where you can find different emotions. So now let's take a few deep breaths. We'll do a short body scan. First few deep breaths as a means of grounding ourselves. And though there may be noise around, maybe externally, internally, that's the challenge. How can we try to go internally and see how we're doing? First, let's start checking in physically how we're doing. Notice how your body is. How are you feeling in your shoulders? Usually that tends to be a place where a lot of stress is held. Just notice. It's not about judgment. It's just about noticing. Are your shoulders tense? Are they relaxed? Take a few deep breaths and just notice. Next, we're going to go to the lower back. That's also a place where a lot of stress may be held. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to check in. Just noticing, no judgment. Do you feel tense? Does it feel at ease? Just take time to notice. 2 deep breaths. And last, you're going to check in with how you're doing in your mind. Do you have a lot of thoughts? It is normal to have a lot of thoughts. We should always be thinking. It's just a matter of what kind of thoughts do we have? And what do we do with those thoughts? So just check in. Do you have a lot of positive, encouraging thoughts? Or are there more thoughts of fear, uncertainty, negativity? And like the same with the other parts, there's no judgment here. It's just about noticing where you are. Because when you notice how you're feeling, you acknowledge it, notice where you are, you're able to handle things better. You're able to know what to do next, and you'll have a clearer picture of what's headed, what new beginning may be in store for you. So we're going to take a few deep breaths and just check in.